Thank you for tuning in to Inside Taiwan. I'm Melvin Tam. On the 21st, President Ma Ying-jeou traveled to Taichung for the founding ceremony of an industrial campaign support group. In attendance were Weiquan Food Chairman Wei Ying-chong, Taiwan Hoistery Manufacturers Association Chairman Charles Wei, and Green Energy Industry Association Chairman Guo Xingzhong. Charles Wei was previously believed to be a supporter of Tsai Ing-wen, while Guo is the uncle of Chen Shui-bian's daughter-in-law.
A group of industry heavyweights welcomed President Ma Ying-jeou to the stage. Standing to the left side of the stage was Taiwan Hosiery Manufacturers Association Chairman Charles Wei, who was rumored to be supporting Tsai Ing-wen after recently meeting with her. Green Energy Industry Association Chairman Guo Xingzhong also drew attention as he is the uncle of Chen Shui-bian's daughter-in-law, Huang Ruijing. According to Guo, he is supporting Ma because he is against corruption. Weiquan Food Chairman Wei Ying-chong was also present. During his address, Ma discussed the signing of ECFA, which has helped to raise the competitiveness of Taiwan's industries. The KMT also held its mobile Central Standing Committee meeting in Taichung, and committee members stumped for the party's legislative candidates. Although a CSC member had recently criticized Hao Longbing, Eric Zhu, and Jason Hu for not actively campaigning for pan-blue candidates, Hu was in attendance at the rally in Taichung.
DPP presidential candidate Tsai Ing-wen visited a car parts factory in Yangmei of Taoyuan County and was impressively welcomed as the owner presented her with a filled piggy bank. Coincidentally, President Ma Ying-jeou visited the same factory in May this year, so spectators wonder whom the factory owner truly supports.
On December 21st, DPP presidential candidate Tsai Ing-wen came to the industrial park in Yangmei and visited a car parts factory. Taiwan's advanced auto parts industry has been recognized on the world stage for its continued research and development efforts. Tsai hopes to see more companies joining forces in the sector. The company owner gifted the candidate 3 full piggy banks. Coincidentally, President Ma Ying-jeou also visited the factory in May. Spectators wonder whether the gesture of gifting truly means full support to Tsai. Recently, Tsai has been visiting various industries and getting to know their challenges and future prospects, showing her ambition to grab votes from industrial and commercial circles.
In the recent department store anniversary sale season and the upcoming election, promotional print materials in the mail increased in volume, which some Zhonghua Postal Office workers are saying that their working environment has turned into a sweatshop because during the 2010 5 special municipalities election, they worked overtime and didn't get overtime compensation or make-up days off. However, Zhonghua Post said that all shifts were pre-arranged and it did not skip out on overtime pays. During the time of election and department store anniversary sales, postmen need to work almost twice their regular hours and loads. Some postmen complained on their blogs, saying that they work an average of 14 hours. Some even had to work over the weekend for free. During last year's 5 special municipalities elections, the post office turned into a sweatshop because they had to work overtime but didn't get compensated in wages or in days off. It takes 2 hours to sort out 3,000 mails before arranging delivery orders and going out to deliver them. A workday of 480 minutes simply is not enough. The workers were trapped in the condition of completing what their responsibilities are, thus some had to work during their days off. The kind of condition made some postal workers ready to sue the company. But according to Zhonghua Post, in the recent months, it is estimated that an increase of 20 million mails need to be delivered, and it has asked all 23 management offices to arrange rotating shifts while making sure that all overtime will be compensated. Some postmen pointed out that the working hour records were all fixed on paper, but they actually arrived early and leave late. But postal offices would not dare to report those extra hours because they all wanted to save face. The postmen questioned the governmental agency of breaking basic labor laws as they wished to raise the issue during the time of election, hoping to get some result from all the complaint letters they have sent in the past. During harsh economic times, many turn to civil service exams in the hopes of finding a job with a stable income. However, the acceptance rate has traditionally been extremely low due to limited spaces available. Examinees are required to hold PhD degrees to sit for the higher civil service exam and have to pass both written and oral exams. During the most recent exam, only 4 of the 126 examinees would pass and get the job.
The results of the most recent higher civil service exam were recently released, with only 4 of 126 examinees passing. All 4 were under 40 years of age. Applicants have to hold PhD degrees just to take the exam and must pass both written and oral exams. The higher civil service exam is the nation's most senior civil service exam, and those that pass are given at least level 9 civil service positions with starting salaries of 58,000 NT per month. Wu Da-ren, who passed the exam on his first try, says that he relied on his medical engineering background and years of experience in the medical equipment field to pass the exam. Wu is currently the president of a biotechnology company and says that he decided to change fields due to the amount of time he had to spend on negotiating with government bodies. Apart from challenging himself, he also wants to bring his industry perspective to the government. According to the Ministry of Examination, the average education level of civil service applicants has risen over the past decade. The ministry has also begun to use online grading to speed up the grading process and make the process more objective.
This year's winter solstice falls on December 22nd, bringing the first cold air mass in the winter to Taiwan. The Central Weather Bureau says the later the day, the colder it will be, as the temperatures may drop to as low as 9 degrees Celsius. And while having glutinous rice balls is the folk tradition on winter solstice, nutritionalists remind the public to beware of the high calories of the dish and adjust the portion of staple of the day accordingly.
The first cold air mass of the winter reached Taiwan was the Central Weather Bureau issuing a torrential rain warning. Rain can be expected in northern and northeastern Taiwan, and the temperatures are going to drop to 9 degrees Celsius on December 23rd. Such rainy days will continue until December 24th, and the cold weather will last until December 26th. The arrival of the cold air mass coincides with this year's winter solstice. It is a folk tradition that we eat glutinous rice balls to welcome the winter's arrival. But since the food contains high calories, especially those with filling inside, having 4 of them equals to having 1 ball of rice. Therefore, nutritionists suggest one to adjust the portion of staple when consuming glutinous rice balls at the same time, or add some vegetables in the soup to increase the fiber intake. Those with chronic disease should avoid the food or have less of it, since having the dish can cause a fast rise in blood sugar level that drops quickly.
As the weather is getting colder, more people are coming down with type B influenza. 24 confirmed cases of the influenza complications were reported. However, the current Yamagata type B influenza cannot be prevented from this year's flu shot. And according to Center for Disease Control, this year's flu vaccine is the same as the World Health Organization had predicted. But since every country is different, receiving the flu shot is going to boost the immune system against influenza. With the arrival of the cold front, there are over 90% of patients in hospitals because of influenza called the type B virus. However, according to the Center for Disease Control, this year's Yamagata type B virus could not be prevented in this year's flu vaccine, which had many people questioning the effectiveness of the flu shot. The CDC stressed that the virus strand is the same as last year's, just as the WHO had predicted. But since all countries are different, in addition to the fact that the type A and B viruses will cause very similar symptoms in patients, receiving the flu shot is still going to be effective in fighting against the flu. There were 24 confirmed flu complication cases last week, with 3 deaths. Thus, the CDC is calling out to the public to get the flu shot to lower the chance of catching the flu. In addition, the CDC is expanding the list of people who qualify for free Tamiflu shots to include those with high fever for over 48 hours or the family members, co-workers, classmates of the patients. As diners flock to hot pot restaurants, demand for bean curd sheets has risen. Bean curd manufacturers have been unable to keep up with demand, and workers are putting in 10-hour days. Meanwhile, orders are coming in at such a rapid rate that some restaurants have to wait for 2 weeks for their orders to be filled.
The bean curd sheet production process isn't a simple one. Ripe soybeans have to be cooked until they are liquid and then boiled until a film forms on the surface of the liquid. Next, the film has to be dried and then fried at a high temperature until it becomes a solid sheet. Due to the recent cold spell, diners are flocking to hot pot restaurants. Demand for ginger duck and mutton pots has also soared, which in turn has caused a spike in demand for bean curd sheets. Bean curd producers are working overtime to try to keep up with demand, but orders are still backlogged. In order to shorten the production period, many manufacturers have hired temporary workers. Even so, warehouses are empty and restaurants often have to wait 2 weeks for their orders to be filled. Experts say that another factor for high bean curd sheet demand is the stable price of soybeans this year.